The answer I love that she gave was about what did Lorcan do?
Why people hate the pregnancy trope, why they hate that Feyre got pregnant and everything. So it was brought up.
Can you imagine doing that and then going online and seeing people be like, this was stupid. Why did the author do this?
Well, the biggest thing I thought was so many people are Nesta haters.
I wrote down, you cannot say that you love Sarah J Maas and her writing if you're a Nesta hater.
And she gave nothing away.
We're probably going to get canceled, but honestly, I don't even feel bad about it at this point. When she said, like, being told no, being told you're crazy, that means you're onto something incredible, and watch me do it anyway.
Welcome back to Book Talks Podcast. This is Kayla.
And Marissa.
And we quickly hopped on the podcast to debrief the Call Her Daddy episode about Sarah J Maas. I don't think she's done an interview in years. I don't know the last time she did an interview.
She doesn't have to do any marketing. She doesn't have to do any promoting. Like, didn't she just drop a book one time with very little notice and like it sold out or something? I feel like most authors send out arcs and you see stuff, leading up to the release. I feel like she's just like, okay, here's the date. Bye.
We started reading 2020. So we witnessed like all of Crescent City maybe, and that's it. We covered Crescent City 1 in the podcast. Like, I feel like our first season.
Because that was my first Sarah J Maas book, was Crescent City, A House of Birth and Blood. So I loved it, by the way, but that was my first one.
I know, I feel like you have a special place in your heart with that one. I feel like Throne of Glass wins overall, even though ACOTAR was my first series. But I don't remember her doing a lot of marketing. I feel like it just like came out. Like, I don't remember people having arcs or getting shipped like PR packages. But she hasn't come out with a book in a while. But I feel like she really didn't do any interviews for Crescent City 3, which is like my most recent release.
Yeah, no. So when did you see she was doing this interview? Because you texted me this. I feel like we've both been off social media because of the time of the year we're in. And so when you texted me, I literally walked around my office today and told every girl I know. I was like, by the way, I don't know if you know who Sarah J Maas is, but she's doing an interview today. It's going to be 6 p.m. Arizona time. And like, I told everyone. So like, did you hear about it today?
I found out Monday, and I thought you had just seen my Instagram message, so then I texted you yesterday, and I was like, so excited for tomorrow, we should record, and you're like, what are you talking about?
That you abbreviated Call Her Daddy CHD, and I had to Google, what is the CHD podcast? I was like, I'm not sure what he was talking about. But I got there. I figured it out. No, I don't have a brick. I actually just ordered a brick, but my phone just gets set to do not disturb for like almost the entire day. And then it's open for like 2 hours in the evenings. But usually I'm working during that time or walking my dog. And so I don't actually go on it all that much. But I broke that for tonight, obviously. I thought, oh, well, I'll just watch this Call Her Daddy episode for an hour. And then it ended up being 2 hours of Sarah giving and giving and giving.
Yes, I feel like she talked so much about herself, more than I thought. And I was like I feel like it made her book so much more powerful. Me and Marissa both texted each other because we talked about this on the podcast like 3 weeks ago about why people hate the pregnancy trope, why they hate that Feyre got pregnant and everything. So it was brought up. And I texted her and I was like, for all those people who are pregnancy haters of Feyre, like, I hope they regret it now, because like it was about her own pregnancy journey, which was like really horrific. Like, kind of makes you question if you want to get pregnant.
Yeah, no, I actually have not heard so many pregnancy stories that have been like happy times. Like, most women have pretty horrific pregnancy stories. And then they say that like once you give birth, you forget about it all and you love your kids so much that you just forget about all the trauma you went through. But I don't think that's 100% true. And I think Sarah sharing her own story and also sharing it through Feyre. I mean, I literally wrote down that people who hate on Feyre's pregnancy online kind of look really stupid right now because she based Feyre's complications and situation on her own complications. Can you imagine doing that and then going online and seeing people be like, this was stupid. Why did the author do this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sure that's why she doesn't get on social media all that often. Like, she rarely posts. But I just feel like people who were trashing her, hearing what went into all that, I feel so awful for her. Like, woman to woman, but also just like as someone who shared her story through Feyre and then to have people bash it. Like, it makes me so sad for her.
Well, the biggest thing I thought was so many people are Nesta haters. So many. And we've
Mhm.
always loved Nesta. I feel like I love Nesta more than Feyre. Like Nesta has always been like a special place in my heart.
And like
Like
from
people
book one, it didn't
yeah.
take a Court of Silver Flames for us to be Nesta girlies. We always liked Nesta. I've never understood the Nesta hate, but go ahead. Keep on with the
No,
thought.
I remember I don't know if I think we talked about it. Like, it was a line in the first book between Nesta and Feyre where, like, I don't know, Nesta just saw no, Feyre just saw Nesta for who she was, and it was
Mhm.
it, like, made me cry. Like, it was, like so I've always been a Nesta lover, and for her to put so much of herself in Nesta's journey, for people to shit on, like, that book and her, I was like, "I hope you all like, that sucks on you and you guys aren't real fans."
I mean, saying they're not all fans, that's basically what I wrote down. I wrote down, you cannot say that you love Sarah J. Maas and her writing if you're a Nesta hater, especially after what she shared today in the interview. And if you still hate Nesta after what she shared in the interview, respectfully, get out. Because literally what Sarah shared about her own experience with mental health and how she put that into Nesta and helped like figure that out and work through it with Nesta, and Nesta's showcasing these struggles and climbing the mountain and all this stuff. I mean, all you have to do is read the dedication in A Court of Silver Flames, which says to all the, basically to everyone who, climbed the mountain or whatever. Like, it is an uphill battle to fight mental health. I could like cry right now. I was so touched when she was sharing everything she shared. And I just feel like anyone who still gets online and bashes Nesta, you respectfully are not a Sarah J. Maas supporter.
I have nothing to add. That was perfect.
Fighting words. We're probably going to get canceled, but honestly, I don't even feel bad about it at this point. Like, I can't even express how much her interview meant. It was so good.
No, it was really good. I am like still just like giddy. I know we're talking about like serious topics, and I just am sitting here smiling because I'm just so giddy. We're getting 2 books,
Gosh.
which I
Only
feel
like a few months apart, which
I
is
know,
crazy.
which I feel bad even being this excited because I feel like us fans wanting her to write and write and write like almost broke her, and I'm like, oh my god, we broke this like genius. Like I felt bad when she talked about like how she got to such a low place. And
Mhm.
I'm like, "Did we get her there?" I don't think she thinks that way, and I feel bad, but I'm also just so excited, and it's also 3 days before my birthday.
I know. So official dates, the ACOTAR 6, October 27th, and ACOTAR 7, I wrote down January 12th.
That's the thing, like, I can't plan a trip for my birthday weekend because it's Tom's marathon. He's running the New York City Marathon, which he's a good boyfriend because he postponed his marathon last year so I could have my moment to then run it next year so it can be like, "Bye-bye."
Like, sorry, Tom, I book's coming out, gotta go. Gonna be MIA for a week.
So, might have to read these separately, but January, I'm not that busy yet. Are you that busy?
I don't think so. Not by January 12th. I think I'll be fine.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we have to go away. Maybe we go to Montana.
I'm down. Get us a cabin in the middle of nowhere,
In her
buckle down.
vortex of whatever she said, I think we have to in honor of Sarah J Maas.
Dude, you saying that vortex reminded me of the girl. Her name's Alexander or Alex. Her saying, what does the pool of starlight mean in the spring court? And Sarah J. Maas was just like, I'm not telling. Like, who thinks of these things? What do you want me to say? I was dying laughing just because I don't know how much weight there is behind each of these fan theories, but I feel like Sarah's takeaway was we are crazy and we just need to sit back and let her give us her own mastermind stuff because she was just like almost like a disappointed mother. Like, who is coming up with this?
No, I loved how she kind of like whenever she's like this, the story came when when I wanted to write it, and like I feel like nowadays so many authors rush to just like give us content, and it's not the story they wanted to say, and then we get not that we get upset, but like I don't know. I'm glad that she waited, and I'm fine with the wait because I just know it's going to be magical, and I'm just so excited.
The other takeaway with that is people are going to bash the content anyway, regardless of what you put out. So you might as well put out what you're proud of. And so if it takes her a little longer to write the next book or whatever, I'm okay with that because it's what she wants to say and put out there. And the thing is, I eat it up every time. So, like, I'm fine with that. But yeah, no, literally, her saying, I was willing to have a life where just one book made it. I wrote that down. I circled it. I could cry because I'm like, not only did just one book make it, but she is like the pinnacle of romantasy, fantasy, female fairy empowerment, whatever you call it. She is the pinnacle of that genre. So I am just so proud of her. Like, I know I don't know her, but I'm so proud of her. And she can take whatever time she needs to get us more books.
Also thought it was really good to actually talk about like smut and how like it shouldn't devalue something, because I've heard it too from people like, oh, all you read is smut, like it's nothing. So I thought it was powerful for her to talk about with Alex, because I feel like Alex had that stereotype. Like I was actually very early on call her daddy listener. Like back in college I would listen to it and it was about just sex. And I felt like when she branched into like now she's doing like these crazy interviews. Like before Sarah, she interviewed like Michelle Obama. Like she's doing like really intense interviews. So she like took this sex podcast and built an empire herself. So I thought it was like really cool to have like two powerful women who could talk about sex, but then also talk about important shit. And it shouldn't devalue the important shit. Which, oh my god, am I allowed to curse on YouTube?
Do it. We're fired up. Like we are, we are such big Sarah J Maas fans. And that's the thing. I'm not even the biggest like ACOTAR. Like ACOTAR of the three is actually my least favorite series. And I know that's probably going to get a lot of hate or whatever, but like for me, I think Throne of Glass is by far the best. Crescent City, like you said, it holds a special place in my heart. And then ACOTAR's not my favorite. I would reread it for the purpose of seeing how all the worlds tie together, but I wouldn't ever probably reread it just for the enjoyment of it. Just personally, it's not my favorite. But so I'm not even like the biggest fan of one of her most popular series. But even I recognize like how good it is. Like it is written so well. There are quotes from that like I'm scared of needles and I would get them tattooed on my body. Like there is just something about the way she writes that is so magical. And yeah, the smut thing was really important. Although I will say, I was listening to that, and while I agree about smut doesn't devalue the rest of it, I do think we have an overproduction of smut books right now that is devaluing the romantasy genre. And I think that is a conversation we could have, maybe not right now while we're on our Sarah J. Maas high, but I do think there is currently an overproduction of smut, but I don't think that devaluing is happening in Sarah's books personally.
I think she even brought up to it like the scenes were like so intertwined with the emotional journey and the plot of the story, and like she put them there for a reason.
Yeah.
Where I don't think that's the case on other books, and I think it's almost an attention span thing of how we all are brain rotting ourselves with the internet, and even with smut, because smut like creates like what we're all I forget the word, but like whatever we're scrolling for to get and how we're all like addicted to it.
The dopamine.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean that's kind of like smut is dopamine hits as well. So I think it's a combination of that, but I don't think Sarah's books fall in that genre. And I don't like I would hate to see like her books be like values at that. Like how she like Throne of Glass, the first sex scene's like 4,000 pages in.
Well, I was going to say, even ACOTAR, which I would think is considered probably her smuttiest of the series, the only smutty book is Silver Flames. And that is like she said, very tied to the characters. In A Court of Mist and Fury, like in ACOTAR, I don't remember a single sex scene. I gotta be honest. There's a moment where Tamlin like pushes her up against the wall and he's being real beastly with her, but then nothing happens. And then in the second book, you go however many pages until chapter 55, which is at the end of the book, before the big sex scene happens. So anyone acting like her books are just fairy porn, I'm like, I'm sorry, but they're not. When she uses the smut, it's used for a reason, but it's not like it's every other chapter.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree.
Well, what about this? Okay, I feel like you and I both want to write. We both feel right now very inspired to want to write. But what if your parents read a smut scene?
No, I'd die.
How can her dad read what she writes?
No, I'd die. I actually am more worried about if I wrote a book and if someone from work read a sex scene.
I couldn't. I'd have to publish under a different name. There's absolutely no way. I don't even think I could tell you if I wrote a sex scene.
If I wrote a book, you're my first editor, 100%. I'm sending it to you, and I
would send mine to you, obviously.
because I actually am always been weird about people reading my writing. Like even in high school when we had to like give our paper to our teacher and they wanted to mark it up in front of you, I wanted to be like, can I just walk away and I'll come back when you're done? Like I couldn't watch someone read my work. So I think I only trust you if I wrote anything. But I feel like her messaging, she started Throne of Glass at 16 and didn't get it published for 10 years. And I think we just need to put pen and paper and write if we're
I
really
know.
want to do it, and just write crap and then just rewrite it until it gets to where we want to be.
I agree. I think I texted you this. It's just like I get so creative when I am stressed. Like right now, I have all these ideas in my head. Like they're the same stories I think about all the time, but right now it's been like super juicy in my head, just like going, going, going. And I don't have time to do any of it because it's busy season. As soon as busy season's over, the creativity just like zaps out. And I'm like, all right, time to just rot and read other people's stuff because I have nothing going on in my head.
Also, I feel like my issue with writing is I never want to read fantasy when I'm writing fantasy. I don't want anything to lead me anywhere.
Mhm.
And I like to read so much, and I'm like, it's like replacing one hobby with another, and it's like, do I want to do that? So I feel like that's my harder battle. And just like obviously just failure of like not being able to do it. But I love the fact that whenever she wrote ACOTAR, she like did not know, she had no plot, like she had no plan, she just wrote. And I was like, I just need to do that because I'm always worried about like, is this gonna all tie together? And I just feel like you just gotta write.
No, I agree. I put so much pressure on myself. I mean, I don't know if you're a perfectionist. I definitely tend to have perfectionist tendencies. And so if I can't map the whole book out ahead of time and see how everything plots together, like I probably have written 50,000 words of just planning, of mapping things out, of how they fit together. I have so many documents and then I never actually write the book because I spend so much time and energy trying to plan it to make it perfect that by the time, and I mean, even then, it's not a complete like thought all the way to the end. But like, then if I try to translate it into the work, it's like I've done too much here that I can't now be creative here. And I agree. Like, maybe I just need to pen to paper, put something down, see where it takes me. And if it's absolute garbage, no one has to know.
Okay, we need to plan 2 retreats this year. We need to plan one writing retreat and then one reading. Oh no, so we can plan a writing retreat this fall in November, and then we can plan a bookish reading retreat in January.
Okay. She literally said that she wrote like 2 ACOTAR books or something in the span of 3 months, or so, she wrote 2 books in the span of 3 months. She said that at one point in the interview, and I was thinking, how? But then on the other hand, I'm like, okay, if Kayla and I took a week and had like a full 7 days and we committed to writing like 10,000 words a day, which is a lofty goal, I'll give you that. But in theory, we could have a book, like a 70,000 word book done in a week. Like in theory.
Well, I mean, I know how much I can get done work-wise in a week. Like, put some anxiety in me. I accomplish a lot.
Yeah, we need to give ourselves like a deadline with consequences.
See, I'm my own worst enemy when I don't have a deadline. Like, I am so productive when I'm on the line.
Yeah. When things aren't pressing, they just kind of don't get done. And it's not until there's a deadline. And then all of a sudden, I'm knocking this out, knocking this out, knocking this out. And I'm like, man, I'm so good at my job.
Last week I was on fire. And then this week, like, it's slowed down a little bit. And I'm like, I need to get my shit together so I don't have another one of last week's.
Right. I know. It's if I could be better in the off time, maybe my busy time wouldn't be so bad. But then also, I'm so productive during my busy time. So is it a problem? I don't know.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm just so jealous she gets to do like writing for a living and we're accountants.
It it's different paths we've taken. Like she definitely took a gamble by going the author route. Now, granted, she it sounds like was always with Josh and he probably could financially support them. So like I don't have the option of relying on someone else to financially support me. So I can't take the same type of gamble that, maybe she had the opportunity to take, not to diminish the gamble she took, right? That's still a big gamble to be like I'm going to pursue writing to whatever end. But I just need to keep in mind, like, my path is different. I am an accountant. I do have to financially support myself, et cetera, et cetera. But if I really want to write, I mean, like, literally, I wrote down when she said, watch me. When she said, like, being told no, being told you're crazy, that means you're onto something incredible and watch me do it anyway. I was like,
Yeah.
this lady is so good.
Or she's letting herself get writer block. She just tells her to get over it. Suck it up. I need to
It's
tell
fine.
myself, suck it up at work some more.
The rapid fire questions at the end just had me cackling, but I did think it was interesting that she answered definitively one. She really didn't answer the rest, but for one, she said, no, Bryce and Azriel are not mates. Hunt and Bryce are obviously mates, which I thought that was really funny and also telling, like, because she didn't answer so much of it. So who knows? Maybe it'll be, maybe it won't. But this one is like, no, obviously Azriel and Bryce are not mates.
Which, who thought they were? I'm so confused.
I'm not gonna lie, I bought into those theories for a little bit, just a little bit. And keep in mind, I love Bryce and Hunt. I would never not want them to be together. But there were people pushing that theory that seemed to have a lot of evidence for it. I forget. It was like Bryce had said, take me to the god of hell or something, and then she ends up being right in front of Azrael and he reaches his hand out and like his shadows accept her. And I forget what else there was some like tension between them and then people had like worked different lineages and been like, oh well maybe, and like I bought into it briefly and I was like maybe, but no, I'm glad she put that one to rest because obviously Hunt and Bryce, their story really is over and they're happily ever after, so there's really shouldn't be any question of Bryce being with someone else.
Do try and stay away from like the fan theories because I feel like it leads to disappointment whenever the book
Mm-hmm.
comes out. I feel like that happened a lot with Crescent City 3.
Yeah.
People were like not happy, and it's people who are online heavily like with all these fan theories, and I just was like, I'm gonna go where Sarah takes me and I'm gonna
Yeah.
be happy about it.
Yeah. I no, that absolutely happened to me. Like I 100% will admit that was when I was very heavily on TikTok and I was just scrolling and just on Book Talk all the Sarah J Maas theories about Crescent City 3 and they were wild and they were fantastic and the way they were intertwined. And then you got the book and you were like, "Oh, but like all those dopamine hits I got over here with like how it could be, that's not how it is." And I enjoyed the book, don't get me wrong, like, I still really enjoyed it, but I think the theories lessened my excitement about where it went and what happened because it was like you were saying, it's quick hits of dopamine, and they're quick theories and, it seems really cool, but it's not where the author was going, and she drew out 800 pages of something else that the dopamine's not as quick on because you're actually fleshing out the story as opposed to just getting these quick little hits. So I will say, leading up to the next book, release ACOTAR 6 on October 27th. I am not going to be on social media. I'm not buying into any theories. I don't care what you guys say about Elaine or Gwen or Azriel or whoever. I am just going to open that book up when it comes out and enjoy whatever Sarah has for me.
So, okay, so me and you are, well, I don't like Elaine. You are impartial to her. But I am curious. I need to take that and put it in the back of my mind because I'm sure Sarah will fuel whatever she's going through into Elaine, and I have to
Mhm.
love Elaine. But I do think she was really mean to Nesta still.
No, I agree. I feel like Elaine really betrayed Nesta after the cauldron because I felt like they were always on each other's side to some degree. And then they went into the cauldron and they came out, and Elaine just was like, cool with Feyre locking Nesta up and all that stuff. And that whole locking Nesta up is not talked about enough because they talk about how abusive Tamlin was to lock up Feyre. But then when it's flipped on Nesta, people are like, well, it's what Nesta needed. So it's okay. And I'm like, how was it wrong in this instance, but okay in this one? Anyway, all that aside, I get really upset about all the Nesta stuff. But yeah,
We
no,
love
Elaine,
Nesta.
I know, love Nesta. I actually really liked Elaine in the first book. I felt like I saw myself in Elaine as far as just kind of being like a nice person, but not really much to you, which I know like all my friends say that's not how I am, but like I do kind of just see myself as the side character, right? I've told you that. Like I'm not the main character, or at least that's how I kind of have always viewed myself. So Elaine was someone I kind of related to, right? Like Nesta was badass, Feyre is the main character, and then there's just nice Elaine. She's nice. But after the cauldron, yeah, she kind of took on a different vibe. And so I don't hate her. She hasn't been developed into who I think Sarah's going to turn her into. So I'm personally excited to see. I don't know if it'll happen in this book or not, but my desire would be for her to make Elaine kind of dark and twisty because she started off as like the sunshine flower girl. And I'm like, I would kind of like to see her have a little villain arc. I'm not going to lie.
I feel like she kind of hinted we're not going to get more Tamlin, and I'm cool with that.
Dude, there were so many theories and I've been buying them. Okay. Look, again, I haven't been on social media, so these are kind of old theories. But with the whole Azriel, Elaine, Gwen stuff, and then, well, Elaine is technically made a Lucian. So maybe Azriel end up with Gwen and Elaine will choose Lucian. But then people are like, what if Elaine will actually be with Tamlin? Because Elaine's very springy and he's, Lord of the Spring Court or whatever. And so everyone was saying they think she'll end up with Tamlin. And I was like, I kind of get it. That kind of makes sense. But then on the other hand, we've talked about this. Tamlin literally was with Feyre. So, like, that's weird to then be
Yeah.
with your sister's ex-boyfriend or
No,
ex-fiance.
it's icky.
Yeah, it's very icky. So I kind of took away the same thing you did from this interview is that maybe Tamlin will someday have a redemption arc, but it's certainly not at the forefront of her mind right now, which makes me think, okay, Elaine's probably not heading to the Spring Court to be with Tamlin anytime soon.
Yeah, I like that answer. I was happy with that. I was happy they brought up Vaughn because I just reread Throne of Glass, so it's like in the forefront of my mind. And obviously, like, would love some more spin-offs in that world. And like, he is just a mystery because you like wonder why the heck she brought him as like a cadre. Oh, I don't know if it pronounced right. Cadre. He just like goes off and he's literally missing the entire time. Like there is no value to him. And Sarah does never writes anything without value. I feel like there's very rarely a character that doesn't matter. Even her novellas she wrote, like all of them had a point.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there's more for Vaughn. So I'm excited. And she said she's still thinking about him. So
Her answer there was so funny with Alex being like, what happened to Vaughn? And Sarah's like, yeah, I think about that too.
oh, she gave nothing away.
What are you thinking?
I just thought she was like, it was, yeah, like laughing at us, but also
Yeah,
like enjoying the crap out of it.
totally laughing at us. The answer I love that she gave was about what did Lorcan do? And she said maybe some bonus content on that. And I'm like, oh, that would be so fun.
I don't really, I don't know. I wasn't like, oh, I need to know. Like, I like Lorcan and
Really?
Adeline, but it was fine. I don't know.
I think I it's funny you say that because I feel like when we did our quick questions on Throne of Glass, oh, was that the last video? I
Yeah.
can't remember. You had said that that you really liked Lorcan and Allied. So I would think if anyone here wants to know what Lorcan did, it would be you.
I just feel like I'm not in my smut era, and
Yeah.
it'd be fun to read, but I just still have their love story. It's still quite nice. Like that's something more like, I don't know, I feel like that was enough and that built that relationship with him. I don't think I needed it. So I don't like, oh my god, I need this. It would be fun, but I'm not like, oh my god, right, it's Sarah tomorrow.
Yeah. No,
Maybe
that's
if I was in a
fair.
different time period, but right now I've been like not in a smutty mood.
Okay, and I got one more thing. What do you think about the fact that she said she has 3 to 4 whole books sitting on her desktop that may or may never get published? That she's just written other books and series, and she's like, they may or may not ever get published.
Well, I've heard about the Twilight of the Gods like theory because I think she had two Pinterest board. One was Crescent City, one was the Twilight of the Gods. So everyone was speculating those were going to be the next series she's going to write. And I think someone did like some decoding, and Twilight of the God means like end of the world or whatever, and like everyone kind of thought it was going to be like a big multiverse together to destroy. I feel like it's something people would write if they want to make money, and I just don't really see Sarah doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm down for another like a whole new set of characters. Like I'm down for her to start the plate like fresh, but honestly, if she doesn't want to share it with us, then maybe it doesn't need to be shared. I trust her. Like honestly, I think I trust her with my life.
No, I mean, agreed. I can't believe she said she's turning 40 because I feel like she's like our age. I mean, she sounds young, she acts young.
She looks young.
She looks young. When I was just listening and not watching, sometimes I couldn't distinguish between her voice and Alex's because they honestly sounded so similar in my headphones or whatever. And she said she's turning 40. And I'm like, man, she has done so much already. I mean, she's a mother with children. She's done how many books? I mean, 5 in ACOTAR plus 6, 7, the 8 Throne of Glass, the 3 Crescent City. I'm just like, that's a lot to have written and been a mother, a wife, had mental health issues, conquered them. And I'm sitting over here at 30 with an accounting job, and that's it.
No, that's not true. And a very unsuccessful book podcast.
No, you know what? To anyone listening though, like honestly, thank you because we don't know who you are or why you're listening, but like thank you.
But no, yeah, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for listening. Like we, even for the 10 fans we have, we are just so excited to do this. We love posting YouTube videos, podcast episodes, so we are appreciative. And we're so hugely accomplished more than just an accounting job. But hopefully eventually we can add successful podcasts to that resume. But we had to hop on here and talk about this because we are still reeling from the news. But basically, it sounds like we have an ACOTAR reread coming up because we have to reread it. And I think we might have to do a series and like deep dive. Like, let's go high school English style deep dive into each book of ACOTAR.
We take it back to our early podcast days and do an episode per chapter.
Wait, one last thing before we have to sign off because literally it's like very late here. When she said the books she read in middle school were so boring, I was like, shout out to Marissa because she's been screaming from the rooftop the same thing, and we get hate every time when we post reels about that.
My gosh, I get canceled anytime I diss one of the books we had to read in high school. And keep in mind, I feel like I'm not really dissing them. Okay, maybe Catcher in the Rye. Maybe I went a little hard on that one. That's like my least favorite that I've ever read. But I feel like, yes, very validated by Sarah saying those books sucked. It's the like fantasy books and the stuff like the fiction where you can escape and find enjoyment and all that stuff. Yes, I think there are lessons in each of those books. Like I've said, Hunger Games should be read in high school. I think other ones should too. There are lessons in each of them. We're actually reading Red Rising right now. And I think there are lessons in Red Rising that could definitely be beneficial to high schoolers in society. So you know what? I stand by what I said because I feel validated by Sarah, and she is my author god, so I'm good.
And on that note, we will leave it here.
October 27th.
Yeah, we'll be back for sure. And obviously, we'll be back next week. But thanks for listening. This is Kayla.
And Marissa.
Have a good night.